Welcome everyone to Inside Thoughts with Jedimorton. Let's get started. On today's episode with Inside Thoughts with Jedimorton, we're going to be talking about a wide variety of things. We're going to be talking about wrestling, superheroes, and just overall comic books for today's audience. All right, the first subject we're going to talk about is wrestling. Now, I've been a fan of wrestling for over 20 years, back from the WCW era to the WWE, even the WCCW. Now, with that being said, I've always been a fan of wrestling. I try to watch Monday nights every night that I can. I try to watch the pay-per-views, which is on the WWE Network, and I don't watch SmackDown as much as I probably should, but I try to watch that on Hulu the day after. Now, this is my take with the current wrestling product. I am tired of the same matches over and over. How many times am I going to see Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin? I mean, I saw them at the Super Showdown. I've seen them on Raw fight several times last year, at the start of this year, and now I get to see it again at Stomping Grounds. Come on, WWE, give me some new matches. I mean, same thing for Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I've seen them at WrestleMania. I don't want to see them at Stomping Grounds, and I'm tired of them just interacting and going against each other. Give me some fresh new storylines. Give me some new material. I know that you're limited on your wrestlers, but you got guys in NXT that are willing to step up, that are willing to take Vince McMahon's so-called brass ring and run with it. But you got to give them a shot. This is probably why the current WWE ratings are almost at a record time low. I think the Raw last week or the week before was the lowest it's ever been for a non-holiday event. Come on. I like the fact that WWE decided to give Kofi Kingston the WWE World Heavyweight Championship or World Heavyweight title, whatever it's called this day and age, at WrestleMania. To me, it was like a Daniel Bryan 2.0 that happened at WrestleMania 30. But ever since you gave him the title, it just seems like you don't know what to do with them. You're putting them in matches with Dolph Ziggler, who came out of nowhere. I think the last time we saw him was at the Royal Rumble. I mean, come on. He just dropped out of nowhere and all of a sudden he gets a title picture? Not once, not just at Super Showdown, but you're also going to give him a rematch at Stomping Grounds? Come on, you could do better than that. I mean, Kofi Kingston has paid his dues. He has paid the way for other wrestlers to come along, is that he's kind of, to my knowledge, like a modern Daniel Bryan, so to speak, just like what I was referring to a minute ago. That he's not a big guy, but he has the heart, he has the passion, and he's got the fan base behind him. You can put more into him. You can develop him more as a storyline. You can give him opportunities. But for some reason, you just feel like having to recycle the same storyline over and over. In the future, I am going to be going into more depth about the WWE current roster, the current matches, and just my overall take on the WWE. But I think this is a good start on just sharing my thoughts of what I think the current product is. My next subject is the superheroes. I'm mainly going to be talking about the DCU universe right now. I'm going to save Marvel for another episode because I could go into much wider range on that. But I don't understand what DC is doing right now. You're trying to launch the DCU online app, whatever you want to call it, and yet you're canceling your shows. You gave Swamp Thing one episode and you went and canceled it. I saw the episode. It was pretty good. It could have been better, could have been a lot worse, but you just didn't give it a chance. I know that Warner Brothers and AT&T just recently merged, one bought one out, so be it. And I know that they're talking about doing different platforms, but don't give up on your shows. Your shows is what drives your fans. Your shows drive content. Your shows can bring in advertisement. Your shows can bring in whatever you want it to be, but don't give up on it. Oh, one episode was bad or one episode didn't get enough rating, so we're just going to go ahead and cancel the whole thing. Don't do that. Give it a chance. And that just seems to be the era of that we live in. Unless it's instant gratification or instant satisfaction, it's over. Move on. What's next? You don't stick with shows anymore. This is what I don't get. I don't understand. Smallville went on for 10 years. Smallville, Superman, one of the best TV shows I think that Warner Brothers and the WBCW put together. It went on for 10 years. 10 years probably a bit too long for that show, but you gave it a chance. You gave it content. You prolonged storylines, is that you made it interesting. You made me stick with it for 10 years. One episode once a week for 22 to 24 weeks. And I stuck with it because it had my characters that I liked. It had character content and it was good storylines. I don't understand why you gave up on that mentality. I don't understand why you gave up on that process. It's good. It works for you. Go back to that. You know what? If one episode isn't great, okay. You say that episode didn't turn out the way we wanted it to for our fan base. We're going to move on. What's next? But you don't give up on it. You don't do that because you don't promote something heavily. And even if it is a commercial failure or even if the fans don't like it, you just don't say, okay, that's it. Because it's a discredit to the actors that you brought in for the show. It's a discredit for the productions of all the staffers, the crew, the extras, and everybody who put time and heart into it. It's not right. You know it's not right, DC. Please do something about it. Make your shows have meaning. If your shows have meaning, you will get the fan base. The final subject for today's podcast with Inside Thoughts with Jedimorton are going to be comic books. Comic books can be a great source of reading material. It also gives you a lot of inspiration and a lot of imagination behind that. I love being able to read comic books from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, just with the different dialect that they use compared to today, the way that they are drawn, and just the overall imagination of what the creators had. Each generation has its own unique design and style for drawing their characters. I mean, if you look at them from the 20s, 30s, and 40s, it's a lot different than how it was in the 80s, 90s, and today. But it's still the same character. There's new storylines, there's new plots, but it's still the same. Comic books can be great for anybody. If you're young, if you're old, middle-aged, they're just good reading material. Like what I was saying, comic books are great reading material that you can use it for any age range. You can give it to your 3-year-old niece, nephew, son, daughter, or you can give it to someone who's 25 or 30, or even to someone who's in their 60s to 70s. That comic books have a nostalgic feel to it, and I think everybody can appreciate that. All right, that's it for this episode of Inside Thoughts with Jedimorton. More content will be coming soon. Please check me out at youtube.com/JediMorton. You can also look me up on JediMorton.com and Facebook/JediMorton. Thank you.